Yesterday, the government of Belize announced that it has decided to ban offshore oil exploration in 7 World Heritage sites, as well as areas along Belize's barrier reef system. This is great news for environmentalist groups and activist groups such as Citizens Organized for Liberty Through Action COLA, which has been at the forefront of this issue. Today, COLA's President Giovanni Brackett applauded the Prime Minister for the government's decision, but says more needs to be done.
You know, we at COLA are very pleased with the announcement yesterday by the Cabinet, and it's not that many times that the government and COLA agrees on a matter or in collaboration. But I must say that this move by the Prime Minister and his Cabinet is a very excellent start to a complete ban on offshore drilling. We have fought a very long fight along with our partners in the Coalition to Save Our Natural Heritage. And you know, COLA, this is like a baby for COLA, having been the founding member to really advocate on this issue. However, we're very pleased. Now moving forward though, in terms of the work in its entirety and the completion, there are a lot of things that needs to be done nevertheless. We've always advocated that the laws within Belize should be separated. That which, just as in the US, where there's a Department of Interior that deals strictly with offshore drilling, and there's another department that deals with onshore. And the reason for that is understandably because you're dealing with 2 different ecological systems, and hence the reason why we can't put an umbrella law that deals with onshore drilling. It's very different when you're drilling for oil in Spanish lookout than when you're drilling in the Port Honduras Marine Reserve. Which brings me to another issue, is that the 2 marine reserves that has been excluded within this ban, I think should be included actually, because they wouldn't have been a reserve if they were not sensitive ecological system. It will be left to those management that is dealing with those reserve areas to further advocate. I think what we have done in the beginning, the very beginning in January 2010 at COLA, is that we help push the NGOs, the environmental NGOs, by providing them with the documents necessary to know that this entire country was blocked off. It is the responsibility of these NGOs now to further the advocacy within their particular areas. They have the resources and they have the funding. And so while we're happy that we have an excellent start, we would like to see further work. But we want to applaud the Prime Minister on this particular move. It is only fitting so that it is not a contentious move, and it is one that we welcome. And we at COLA would like to work with the government in moving forward and dealing with any issues dealing with oil exploration.
Yesterday came the announcement whereby the government of Belize will be putting policies that will legally place a ban on offshore exploration in areas along the Belize barrier reef system, as well as within the 7 World Heritage sites in Belize. As we mentioned yesterday, it is indeed a victory for the environmental lobbyists, including a major player like OCEANA. OCEANA issued a release today applauding the government on their decision, saying that with a moratorium on all offshore oil activity in Belizean waters already in place, this move represents a tremendous step forward for Belize and her people. As for the foreseeable future, Belize's entire marine area is protected from the inherent hazards of offshore oil. The release reads in part, quote, "The decision taken today by the government of Belize reflects recognition of what the people of Belize have been asking for years, the protection of job security, food security, and cultural identity. From legal, economic, scientific, and cultural perspectives, Belizeans agree offshore oil is a bad idea. We remain confident that the future will continue to reveal reasons why Belizeans should never risk our outstanding and globally unique resources with this type of activity." End of quote. According to OCEANA Belize, they are looking forward to reviewing the details of the plans in this regard, especially its relations to the status of 2 marine protected areas not named in the release, the Turneffe Marine Reserve and the Port Honduras Marine Reserve. While Cabinet Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation Manuel Heredia Jr. would not speak on what prompted Cabinet to render such a decision on oil exploration, he did say that this may just have a positive impact on the tourism industry.
Yeah, well, definitely, I believe that whatever is done in the interest is done in the interest of the country, and whatever is done together in consultation with the partners around, I believe that will definitely be for the interest of the tourism industry or for the country as a whole.
The release from Oceana Belize went on to state that in a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister, Dean Barrow, Oceana Belize will be able to contribute to the efforts of the Ministry of Petroleum in developing stringent environmental mechanisms as well as strengthening existing frameworks that will ensure that if the moratorium is lifted, the country's marine resources would remain protected. With Oceana having a weight lifted off their shoulders with these oil exploration policies in the making, the World Wildlife Fund is calling for more. They did not issue an official release to the media, but they did publish on their website a document that this is an important step in the right direction, but it does not remove the threat entirely to the country's reef. WWF is calling for a quote, a permanent moratorium or complete ban on offshore oil exploration and drilling in Belize. If the current moratorium is lifted, it must be informed by strong science, social, and environmental impact assessments, an oil contingency response plan, and overall agreement from the Belizean public. The release went on to state that more also needs to be put in place to address unsustainable coastal projects that can negatively affect the reef, if it is to continue being a provider for the long-term economic and environmental prosperity of Belize and Belizeans. The release ended by saying, quote, over many years, WWF has worked collaboratively with the government, private sector, and partners to help secure a number of conservation achievements in Belize. Since 2010, WWF has been advocating as part of the National Coalition to Save Our Heritage for a full ban on oil drilling in Belize's land-based protected areas and all offshore waters. End of quote.